So just after I recorded the first episode of Series 4 of TimberBorn, the game updated with another patch for Update 5. I guess that's a risk when you're playing on the experimental branch of a game. So we're going to have a quick look at some of the changes. And there's been quite a lot. So let's work our way through them. Bad water sources are now disabled during droughts, the same as regular water sources. That's a massive change because quite a lot of the stuff that I did in Update 5 in Season 3 relied on the fact that bad water ran continuously so that we could get power. They have tweaked the randomness of seasons to reduce the chance that you're going to get too many droughts or bad tides in a row. So that's interesting. There are some new buildings. Some are folktale specific, some are Iron Teeth specific. So I might switch over to a folktale save to show you some of the folktales ones. But for Iron Teeth, we have the Bad Water Discharge, which is 400 science, 300 gears, 200 metal, 50 explosive. So it's a late game thing, ground only, and it is it's a building that you put on top of a bad water source to manually open and close the source. The interesting thing that is for the Iron Teeth, if you open it during a drought, bad water will continue to flow. So we can enable that. That's kind of cool. And if we go into, is it underwater? So bad water discharge seals a bad water source. I'm going to enable dev mode so we can have a look at some of these. Let's add a bunch of science. So there it is. And I think if we do control, we can auto build it. So let's have a look. And then if we click on it, we can open it or we can close it. I guess, yeah, it dries up. Okay. So that's interesting. That's going to be, say, interesting to make use of. There are two folktales equivalents, which we'll switch over and have a look at in a moment. So let's open that up again, shall we? Before we do that, we're going to have a look at what's changed with irrigation, levees, dams, and floodgates. So they've basically reverted the behavior back to what it was before. So levees, dams, floodgates no longer block irrigation and contamination spread unless the entire body with the bottom and the sides is contained by levees, and then irrigation won't spread, which makes sense to me because if they're contained completely by the wooden stuff and it's waterproof, that would work. The irrigation tower, which was a folktales only building, I believe, has been removed from the game because most people do the levee trick. So that's fine. Not really a problem. To allow for the blocking of contamination, they have added in new buildings. So there are two that are folktales and one that's Iron Teeth. The Iron Teeth one is called the Irrigation Barrier. It's 400 science, 10 logs, 5 treated planks. So it's late game again. It's ground only. And this blocks contamination and irrigation. So a bit like how a levee was behaving before. I'm assuming if we go into here, we will find, there we go, the irrigation barrier. So let's just cheat building one, and that seems to be it. Okay. I wonder how it works if we put it in water. Let's build. No. If I hold down the correct key. Okay. Stops. Must be built on ground. How do we activate it? Literally, updates just dropped, and I'm just playing with this. It doesn't hold allow place multiply. Stop soil irrigation contamination from spreading beneath it. Okay. So I guess it doesn't do vertically. Okay. Barriers, which I think were these guys, have been renamed to blockages to delineate between them, and contamination now spreads diagonally. I'd have thought it did, but anyway. And then for the folktales, the dandelion returns with the herbalist, which is 300 science, 20 planks, 5 gears, 5 treated planks, and it creates antidotes. Yeah. So it can heal a contaminated beaver at a slower rate. So now the decontamination pods are an Iron Teeth exclusive, and folktales have the herbalist. Okay. There's some other bits. They've updated thumbnails for the maps. They've updated some of the explosive effects, improved the visibility of bad water sources. In certain scenarios, beavers now get to work right after reaching their destination rather than idling. Large science points costs are now shortened, so 10,000 becomes 10k. Updated descriptions of buildings. Yeah, and some bug fixes. Okay, so let's switch over to the folktales and have a look at some of their buildings. So back on Meander with folktales loaded up now, and we've got the Badwater Dome and the Badwater Rig. So let's enable dev mode and get some science going. And I guess if we go into water, we've got the Badwater Dome. So this is a lot like the one we just looked at for the Iron Teeth. It opens and closes and seals the bad water source or not. It's a really nice graphic actually. So we've got that. Let's delete that. Or we've got the Badwater Rig, and this permanently seals the bad water source, but allows beavers to then pump bad water out of it. So I'm going to check that it doesn't use power, so you get 40 bad water per hour. So that's quite interesting. I guess you'd have to think about how you might use that, but that's kind of cool. And then we've got the large water pump, which is folktales exclusive. 400 science, 20 logs, 5 gears, 10 treated planks. So let's have a look at that. Large water pump. So max depth of 4, which is good, and it does 5. So it does 5 times the amount of water with 3 beavers, but can go to 4 deep. So that's a really good one for the folktales. We've got the contamination barrier, which is, so this stops water contamination passing below it. So that's like the one we looked at for the Iron Teeth, the irrigation barrier. And so I'm just reading these notes as we go through. That's it. So this is similar. Yeah, so neither of them stop the flow of water, but they stop pollution passing to the tiles below them. So that's interesting. And then if we do let's unlock some levies and let's do the test that I'm sure you are all interested in. Let's get a water dump. Let's get it so the beavers can actually do something with said water dump. So bear with me. I was literally opening up the game to record the second episode of Series 4, and I couldn't because there was an update and it broke all the mods. So We're probably going to be starting that again. And particularly if I jump to next season. We get a drought. Actually, let's delete that as well. So we see that the bad water, I was expecting that to stop. Maybe because we had the thing over the top of it. It's interesting that water is, it's ramping down. So let's speed up time a bit. I'm curious to, yeah, this is behaving normally again. Awesome. So the other thing that was Iron Teeth specific was the herb list, which I'm guessing is under well-being. Shrine, medical bed, herbalist. So it's the same building as before. And he makes antidote. So cool. So dandelions are back. You grow dandelions, your herbalist makes antidote, and that's instead of the decontamination chamber. These are still winding down, so. But yeah, the bad water source has stopped. And we're hydrating a nice area again, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, I guess if you're using mods, you might not want to update to this patch until the mods have had a chance to update. I'm going to ponder what I'm going to do with the video I've just recorded. And if you found this video useful, click the like button. Comments, questions, or suggestions, stick them below. And I will see you